William will quite rightly stare down claims that Meghan Markle is threatening to sue.
Members of the UK Parliament have taken a stand beside Meghan Markle, so let's take a quick listen to Holly Lynch, a member of the UK Parliament.
The Prince has made an unprecedented, jaw-dropping move to silence the rising power of his sister-in-law. This isn't just another headline, it's a seismic shift in the royal landscape, one that has everyone talking behind closed doors and across the tabloids. Tension is growing at an explosive rate around Meghan's latest project, a bold, headline-grabbing venture that's reshaping, and some argue even damaging, what it truly means to belong to the royal empire. So how exactly is the Duchess of Sussex's new business causing nationwide shockwaves, rattling royal traditions, and twisting the monarchy's public image? What ripple effects could Prince William's furious, no-holds-barred decision unleash across the kingdom and the international stage? Join us as we lift the veil on the untold events that unfolded behind the scenes of this blockbuster-style royal drama, exposing family bonds that many insist don't even need fixing at the very top of the British monarchy. A quiet, tension-packed battle is simmering behind palace walls, centering on King Charles and his son, Prince William, the heir apparent who is quietly plotting his next moves. You would think their approaches would complement each other, but they clash like fire and ice. The conflict comes down to two completely different ways of thinking about leadership and duty. Charles is a man of mercy, believing in understanding each person's circumstances and weighing them carefully. William operates with military-like precision. He believes in strategy, planning, and protecting the monarchy at all costs, even if it puts him squarely at odds with his aging father. King Charles's entire ruling philosophy puts family first. He relies on quiet, behind-the-scenes conversations, talks over tea, and believes reconciliation is the ultimate tool for solving problems within the royal household. Frankly, it isn't entirely his fault. It's how he was raised. He sees this as the noble, dignified way to manage the monarchy, a legacy of his upbringing and personal belief in gentle governance. But to a growing number of observers, especially his own son, this style of ruling has glaring loopholes. They see Charles' kindness and devotion to family unity as a weakness, a flaw no successful monarch would display. This system suits royals who are content to reap benefits without responsibility, riding the wave without contributing to what it means to truly be royal. At the forefront of this group, Meghan Markle, the now Duchess of Sussex, married to Prince Harry. She leveraged royal connections mainly to grow her brand, showing little interest in duty. Many such royals existed before, but Meghan is the most high-profile modern example. Prince William has watched this dynamic unfold for years, observing his father's mercy and his in-laws' casual approach with growing concern. He believes this permissive approach isn't healing anything. In fact, he sees it as watering down the once powerful royal name, making it weaker. To him, it's like giving a microphone to anyone willing to publicly challenge the crown. While public faith in the monarchy wavers, William feels his father's system accelerates the problem, and his sister-in-law's actions? He sees them as the bitter icing on the cake, a vivid confirmation of his fears. Tensions boiled over during one particular father-son meeting, where it became painfully obvious they view the same situation through completely different lenses. Charles believes family bonds can be healed. He sees sons, daughters-in-law, and relatives as issues solvable through heartfelt discussions and shared emotions. William sees it differently. He sees problems requiring strict rules and decisive action, solutions leaving no room for negotiation. He sees weak branches that must be pruned before infecting the rest of the tree. William views an institution that survived 1,000 years because it had clear rules everyone followed, a monarchy that knew when to adapt, but also when to remain unyielding. Without discipline and structure, the system risks collapsing. Most importantly, he sees a spine, a backbone the current monarchy sorely lacks. He worries that without urgent changes, things will worsen. He isn't sitting back waiting for the crown. He's actively engaging. He's assembling a team of experts, strategists, and sharp-minded individuals to restore the royal name to its historic strength, power, and respect. This team studies how the monarchy once operated, how other European royal houses maintain influence, and the strategies of former royal leaders. Together, they're building a modern framework of rules with no loopholes like those in his father's system. William isn't doing this for revenge or just to prove he's worthy. He is laying the foundation for the future, guaranteeing the survival of the empire he lives in, loves, and is destined to rule. William's vision is centered on strict rules, defined responsibilities, and clear decisions about who counts as a working royal, who participates in official duties, and who deserves the crown's privileges. Right now, the lines around what it means to be royal are blurred, but for William, the rules are clear. Serve the crown, you're in. Don't, you're out. A hard, unmistakable message putting Meghan at real risk of losing relevance. And this decision by William is far from unfounded. Some say a particular set of royals' attention-seeking behaviour pushed him over the edge. Throughout history, the drive for status, influence, and wealth has always been powerful. Even the monarchy, as old and untouchable as it is no exception. It seems everybody wants to be associated with the royal household. Scratch that. It seems like everybody wants to be a royal these days. But this is exactly the opposite of what Prince William envisions for the future of the monarchy. He wants the title of royal to belong only to those who actually work for the institution, not to those who casually use the family name for status, attention, or personal gain alone. For him, being royal is not a lifestyle accessory. It's a responsibility, a legacy, and a commitment that cannot be watered down. He wants to end this situation, one he feels his father has allowed to continue far too long, even though William himself has not yet been crowned. He believes that regardless of his father's decisions, he must step in to save what he sees as a British monarchy teetering on the edge of irrelevance and dilution. At the heart of his philosophy is one core principle: exclusivity. To William, exclusivity is not snobbery. It is the very lifeblood of power, authority, and dignity. In his view, you either step in, serve the crown, dedicate your life fully, and carry the title with honour, or you step back, chase independence, and seek validation from the public or media. And on that second path, the crown does not follow you. The crown is everything, but if everything belongs to everyone, it means nothing. Exclusivity is what gives the monarchy weight, significance, and a backbone. You cannot have random people with faint family ties identifying as royals. If that happens, what does it even mean to be royal? Nothing. William reportedly asks himself this question over and over. If everybody is a little bit royal, what does it truly mean to be royal? Without boundaries, the institution becomes meaningless. The crown must remain rare, revered, and respected. Otherwise, it risks losing all authority and relevance in the modern world. He is not trying to settle old scores or stage a dramatic show of power. He is focused on preserving the dignity, honour, and gravitas the royal household once embodied. Transforming the monarchy from old traditions into a modern, disciplined institution involves careful, deliberate changes. It means keeping what works, correcting what doesn't, and establishing clear, enforceable lines that will endure beyond fleeting controversies. Most importantly, it involves drawing boundaries that his father has struggled to maintain because of emotional connections, personal loyalties, and a desire to avoid confrontation. The current system is built on centuries-old traditions and protocols, updated over time, which may or may not be effective in today's world. William and his team are working tirelessly behind the scenes to modernize and redefine these rules. He wants to strip the title of its diluted meaning and give it renewed purpose, focus, and clarity for a new era. If you work for the crown and dedicate yourself fully, then you are royal. You receive the recognition, influence, and privileges that come with the title. If you do not, you do not receive any of these benefits or honors. It is a simple, strategic plan with preservation and transition at its core. This framework is targeted at attention-seeking royals who step out for Netflix shows, podcasts, or endless public interviews, activities that, in William's eyes, serve themselves, not the crown. When you step away for personal gain using the family name, it has nothing to do with the monarchy. You may be welcomed back, but only once you return to actively serve it. Those who chase independence and personal fame while exploiting the royal name are not royals. They are merely attention-seeking relatives. William wants the titles of king and queen to carry real significance, honour and authority, not just be ceremonial labels. His system judges royals based on their work and service, not on media coverage, public opinion, or outsider commentary. William believes the king, the queen, and the monarchy itself must determine who is truly royal, those who dedicate themselves full-time to the crown. Relatives who are merely related by blood are not automatically considered royalty. They may retain relevance as family members, but they are not royals until they actively serve the institution. The concept is clear, but how does it work in practice? How are boundaries enforced? How is commitment measured? Prince William could not create this framework alone. He assembled an elite team, not just British advisors, not just family insiders, but qualified experts from across the world: Britain, Sweden, Denmark, Germany. This superior team was designed to solve a superior problem and bring real-world solutions to an ancient system. He chose experts from these countries because their monarchies have successfully modernized, transitioning from historical institutions to functional, modern entities. He needed their expertise to ensure the monarchy remained relevant, to enforce firm boundaries, and to craft practical rules that work in the 21st century. William was building a modern playbook, a system radically different from anything King Charles could have conceived. His father would have sought compromise, consensus, and middle ground. William believes the monarchy cannot operate like that. It cannot risk inefficiency or diluted authority. Prince William does not see the monarchy as a family business. To him, it is a serious institution requiring a strict framework. The monarchy must be fully respected, fully understood, and fully followed. Those involved must be all in or all out. There is no halfway. Full commitment is required. Partial dedication weakens the institution, and William is determined to prevent that at all costs. The monarchy may appear boring or slow-moving to some, but it has always been an effective communication tool. Letters, official documents, and decrees, delivered through the postal service, bearing the royal seal and the monarch's signature, have long ensured clarity, authority, and control. William intends to leverage this same mechanism to implement his modern system of governance, combining tradition with a 21st century structure, clarity, and strict enforcement of royal boundaries. This system gave no room for members to debate decisions. It didn't even provide a way to reply back. You simply received your letter, and from that moment on, you knew your fate. A copy would be kept in the royal archives, so there was no need to make an appeal or complain because the decision had already been made by the king, the queen, and the governing body of the royal household. Every decision was considered final, absolute, and binding. No exceptions, no loopholes, no room for argument. It was in William's mind the perfect way to pass a law. Paperwork and all that it entails had long been a very powerful tool used by the British monarchy for centuries. William saw it as something the modern generation needed to embrace more fully, or actually, much more aggressively than before. Once you have an official document, you gain structure, clarity, and a definitive decision that cannot be contested. There is no need for unnecessary drama or drawn-out arguments. Decisions needed to be set and done. Introduce a new letter that simply stated, "Thank you for your service. We are done, and the monarchy is moving on from you. You are no longer considered royal." That's it. No debates, no resistance, no way to push back. It was simply a law passed and immediately effective, enforceable instantly, and recorded in the annals of the royal archives for future reference. This was the new pattern. William and his team were working on a massive new wall with the word boundary boldly painted on it. The new framework essentially stated that all members actively working for the royal family retained their status and privileges. However, distant relatives and non-working family members would be respected socially, but no, they would not be recognized as true royalty. To make this happen, all he needed was one simple thing: Charles's signature. It wasn't something that required public opinion, debate, or a vote from the royal household. He only needed one crucial thing: the signature of the head of the sovereign, the king. This new framework was designed with deserters and non-working royals in mind. Yet, one particular royal would feel the impact far more heavily than the others: the Duchess of Sussex. But what happens when one of the biggest deserters is a high-ranking member of the monarchy? Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle was one of the individuals Prince William had squarely in mind while developing this new law. She was one of the people whose entire empire, everything she had built, marketed and leveraged, was founded on that one word, royal. The title of Her Royal Highness was not merely a formality. It was the cornerstone of her public persona, her credibility and her influence. This new wall William was constructing would represent one of the biggest hurdles her career would ever have to face. If the law passed, she would be stripped of her HRH title and demoted to simply the Duchess of Sussex. While the Duchess title would still appear in official royal documents, it would no longer carry the same weight, prestige, or doors-opening power it once did. Her entire brand and identity were tied to this royal connection. She had created a sprawling media empire built on her royal status, using the name not for its duties, but for the social power, influence, and attention it brought her. This was something Prince William was actively against. A social media-driven royal empire detached from real service to the crown. This battle with the Duchess of Sussex also extended to the two brothers, William and Harry. Even Harry was not exempt from this cut-down of official members. In practical terms, he too was demoted to merely the Duke of Sussex. William was not pushing these key members away out of personal spite. Instead, he was strictly enforcing the definitions of the roles they now occupied. They were no longer working royals in the full sense. Their official titles would now reflect their detachment from active royal duties. Meghan would no longer carry the same official weight she once did. In the eyes of the media, the public, and influential circles, her importance would diminish. Media coverage often bases influence on the title one holds, and with HRH gone, Meghan's clout in powerful rooms, collaborations, and social spaces was immediately threatened. It was an incoming disaster for her brand. The Duchess title alone did not open the doors she had once walked through effortlessly. Even after she and her family left the palace and relocated, she did not stop building her empire. She adapted her operations to accommodate this new reality. After all, the Duchess of Sussex remained a significant title, still tied to the royal family. Everything she had built was still connected to that one title. Her empire did not collapse entirely, but it faced a substantial reduction in symbolic and practical power. Her influence continued on, more or less maintaining momentum, but it was evident that she was no longer as fully empowered by the crown as before. She was not merely another celebrity. She was formerly royalty who had stepped away. The Duchess of Sussex remained a title of influence, but its relevance steadily waned as William's new vision for the monarchy solidified and boundaries became firmer. Her team grew increasingly anxious. After all, her name and public relevance were tied to the royal connection. Every room she entered, every podcast, every media appearance, every introduction referenced the Duchess of Sussex. It was the source of her influence, views, and public presence. They knew she would no longer hold the same clout once William's new boundaries diminished the weight of her royal connection. She understood the difference between being an ordinary celebrity and being recognized as royalty. She knew the challenges ahead. Everyone around her knew the collaborations, partnerships, major features, and media attention that had been built on her royal identity were at risk. They were about to fade, gradually disappearing, just like the extra branches being trimmed from the royal household. It was a nightmare scenario. Prince William, however, remained completely indifferent to her potential loss of media relevance. That was not his concern. What mattered to him was protecting the monarchy. All he cared about was stabilizing the institution, ensuring the weaknesses and shakiness that had plagued it for years were eliminated, and securing the crown's legacy, regardless of the personal or professional fallout for those who had stepped away. All he cared about was restoring the strength of the once great British Empire. A great idea indeed. One could even call it a perfect idea. And while it seemed original, it was by no means unfounded. This was a challenge many monarchies had faced before and successfully overcome in their own ways. Regime shifts tend to follow familiar patterns, repeating themselves across different eras and under different names, yet the same essential heartbeat existed beneath the surface. A rhythm of power, tradition, and necessity that never truly changes. Rulers, in many ways, are simply in love with imitation and adaptation. This powerful idea that William chose to employ was not something he randomly conceived one morning. No, It was rooted in practicality, strategy, and a long-standing study of historical precedents. He had been meticulously analysing other monarchies for years, especially those that had successfully transitioned from ancient, rigid traditions to modern, functional systems that balanced relevance with authority. He studied the way they managed their titles and the responsibilities of their household members. One particular case caught his attention more than others. Queen Margrethe II of Denmark had made a bold move that shocked European politics. A few years prior, she stripped 4 of her own grandchildren of their royal titles. These were not distant relatives or adopted children. They were her biological grandchildren, immediate members of her lineage. Her decision sent shockwaves across royal circles worldwide and served as a crystal-clear statement about what the Danish monarchy stood for. This kind of clarity was exactly what Prince William had been searching for. Queen Margrethe's move was not just a punitive action, it was an assertion of sovereignty, authority, and definition. By removing titles from those not actively serving the crown, she established clear boundaries and reinforced the institution's hierarchy. For William and his team, this example was both inspirational and instructive. The sovereignty and absoluteness of a monarchy must be unmistakable, and every member's role must be clearly delineated to avoid confusion, dilution, or overextension of influence. He studied the public reaction and how Queen Margrethe managed the aftermath, including any backlash from the media, the public, and the disgruntled family members. Her approach was quiet, calculated, and absolute, a model of authority that contrasted sharply with how his father might have handled the situation. King Charles might have sought compromise, solicited opinions, and aimed for familial reconciliation, but William realised that leadership in the modern monarchy often requires decisive action, even at the cost of temporary discomfort. This gave him insight into how he might implement a similar system within the British monarchy. While recognising the differences between Britain and Denmark, William understood why he had assembled a team of international experts to guide him in adapting proven strategies to the British context, avoiding pitfalls, and ensuring the reforms were executed smoothly without unnecessary resistance. Many had commented on how difficult such actions must have been for the Danish family members, but in retrospect, the move was necessary. It strengthened the monarchy, eliminated lingering weaknesses, and clarified lines of authority. William focused not only on what Queen Margrethe did, but on how she did it. It was done quietly, decisively, and with absolute authority, something his father had never demonstrated in similar circumstances. He acted with purpose, showing both power and foresight. William's takeaway was clear: monarchies must evolve proactively before crises force them to act. One does not wait for disorder or the dilution of influence to escalate. One intervenes when issues are on the horizon, such as when too many family members hold titles and the value of royalty itself is diluted. In addition to Denmark, he meticulously studied Sweden, the Netherlands, and Spain, observing their modernization strategies, handling of titles, and the delicate balance between tradition and relevance. The recurring theme among successful monarchies was their ability to modernize while preserving core cultural and institutional traditions. William's goal was to understand what made them appealing to the 21st century public, while ensuring that centuries-old practices and the crown's gravitas remained intact. He constantly asked himself and his team of advisors how to maintain relevance without eroding the monarchy's historical uniqueness, defining a line that balanced tradition, authority, and modernity. As William built his framework, Meghan Markle and her team were watching and reacting. The Dukes of Sussex and their advisors were working to protect their interests. There was a quiet, yet intense showdown between the two sides. While William was in London, constructing the foundations for a new age of royalty and establishing stricter boundaries for indecisive or non-working royals, Meghan's team, on the other side of the world, began noticing patterns. Words like title reforms, restructuring, and boycotting started to seep into their intelligence. Panic and strategy combined as Meghan's team quickly assessed the situation. They were not inexperienced. Like William, they understood the gravity of the moment. Both sides realized that speed was essential. Faster action could determine who would emerge as relevant and who would be marginalized. This was a battle on two fronts: one for the relevance and survival of the British monarchy, and the other for the continued prominence of Meghan's personal brand. Meghan's team immediately ran simulations and developed contingency plans. They understood that her media presence was deeply intertwined with her royal connection. Losing the weight of that title could drastically reduce her visibility, influence, and commercial value. After extensive analysis and internal debate, they arrived at a conclusion: trademark the title Duchess of Sussex. This last-ditch effort was designed to protect what remained of her carefully cultivated brand. Even though her status had already been diminished, Meghan and her team were determined not to let the media and corporate power she had accrued be obliterated by William's reforms. Securing a trademark meant owning her title in a commercial sense, ensuring control over its use and its legacy. It was a clever strategy, at least on the surface. If the trademark succeeded, the conversation around Meghan's identity would shift. It would no longer be solely about royal protocols, inheritance, or institutional definitions. It would be about her name, her brand, and her rights to protect it. This maneuver could redirect public attention from the official rules and institutional power to her personal agency and media presence. Everybody would still recognize her with the title of Duchess. It was a clever pitch, meant to preserve relevance, but this plan was quickly shut down as the palace saw it coming from miles away. Existing protocols, long in place, prevented the personalization of royal titles by individuals. Meghan's attempt to commercialize her title was blocked before the paperwork could even be considered. Her team simply wasn't on the same level as Prince William's, who had contingency plans for every move. This was the end for Meghan and other royals who fancied the title of royalty for personal gain. William had worked hard to protect the monarchy and ensure titles remained meaningful, tied to service and duty, not attention-seeking. What would you have done if you were in Prince Harry's shoes? How did it feel for Meghan to lose relevance so dramatically? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Also, check out the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.